Coach, you a couple of weeks ago, I think we talked about your rotation. You said that's always going to be an ongoing thing as the games play out. Or obviously, kind of getting down the home stretch of the non-conference schedule with SEC play starting later this month. Are you a bit closer with that rotation, or is it still something that's playing out?
Well, if you look at our stat sheet, like I just did, we got 13 guys that are averaging 8 minutes or more. So I would say it's still a work in progress. Certainly there are some guys that have established themselves, and you guys that have watched us know who they are, but we're still searching for some consistency in spots like 8, 9, 10, and we've got some candidates that we've been shuffling in and out of there during the games, and certainly practice is equally important in terms of the evaluation of where they're at. And most of them are young players, and some grow faster than others, and some react to the game minutes better than others, and we're still feel like we're getting to know each other better, and certainly the games are a great platform for them to see where they're at and for us to evaluate them. But eventually, we're going to have to settle in more than likely once we get into SEC play, but we still have 4 games for those guys to kind of show us where they're at.
We'll go second row to Danny P.
Coach, I know you've had a lot of experience probably navigating exam week and all the schedule, what the adjustments in the schedule that brings, but what are the challenges this week with a road game on Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, this is a less challenging week than most for me. We've played plenty of games during finals in the past, and either right at the end or right before, and sometimes at home, sometimes on the road. And with 8 days between games, we'll be completely done with finals before we have to travel to Minnesota. So, it'll be no problem for us to give them ample time to do what they need to do to take care of their books, and that they're prepared for all of their finals. And we've been talking about it for weeks up until this point, to stay on top of it and play with the lead. It's more fun to play with the lead than to play from behind, and hopefully we'll be in good shape this week.
Go to Theo to Coach's right.
Yeah, the year before you got to New Mexico State, they lost to Colorado State by 3. The first year you were there, they beat them by 13. How do you approach it when it comes to kind of a rematch where you weren't really there for the first one? How much can you learn from what the players tell you about last year's game against Minnesota?
I won't ask them a thing. I won't even watch the tape, to be honest with you. Teams are so different from year to year now with the portal and the transferring that's going on, that it'll make no difference or bearing on this result of this year's team or this year's matchup. It's never even crossed my mind, to be honest with you, to watch that game. I couldn't even tell you who won or lost the game when they played last year off the top of my head. So, we're obviously knee-deep in preparation for our first true road game against a Big Ten opponent in their barn, and I'm looking forward to it.
Again, questions, raise your hand. We'll get the microphone to you. Let's go back to Paul.
You go ahead and ask you about the first net rankings. I know that's going to be an ever-changing thing, and the first one is kind of, I would say, skewed because there's a lot to play out with conference, but kind of surprised you being number 5?
I didn't even know they were out. I got a text from a cousin back home telling me where we were ranked. I'm like, they're out? I didn't even know. It wasn't like it was Christmas morning for me and had to open the presents. I wasn't tracking on that. But anytime we can get attention for our program, I've said that before, get our fans excited and continue to back these young men that are playing their hearts out, it's a good thing. And obviously, it's a very important metric. But like you said, I mean, we're 3+ months to where it really, really matters. But I'm sure our kids will be made aware of it before we meet this afternoon in practice, and we'll talk about it and make sure it's in perspective. But I'd rather be on that end of the totem pole than the other. But like we all know, I mean, there's lots of basketball to be played, and there'll be a lot of fluctuations throughout the year.